Marcus, thank you for being always diplomatic and working with us. Jay, I want to thank you for all you've tried to do for every resident in Illinois. And I repeat, every resident in Illinois. I have several questions here. Every time I've opened up my phone, I see this clean energy thing on Facebook. It's always the second one. Do they honor businesses for going green?
I'm really not sure. You'd have to reach out and ask them, and I'm not sure what you mean by honor business.
They're always bragging about this green project and that green project. I just wondered about that. Can you tell me who owns Prairie State?
Prairie State?
Yes, the owners.
I believe they had a board of directors. I'm not sure.
Well, can I help you with that answer?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. Prairie State is owned by a group of municipalities and co-ops. There's no stocks, there's no dividends, there's no profits. These are citizens of Illinois. These are taxpayers of Illinois. Prairie State's supplying 2.5 million businesses and families with electric. Now, I mentioned municipalities. Can you maybe help me understand what's their percentage of the electric the municipalities are producing with clean energy?
I don't have that specific number in front of me. I believe I can get it for you. Your question is germane to the legislation?
Yes. What is the percentage of clean energy being used in Illinois right now?
Again, another question that's not germane to the legislation.
Okay.
Can we address the legislation?
I'm addressing the legislation. This bill is increasing cost to Illinois residents. We currently, through our clean energy process, are putting about $189 million a year of Illinois taxpayers' money into clean energy, and they are at 7%. Once again, I'd like to ask, but you can't give me the answer, where our municipalities are. Our municipalities are at 12% clean energy. Illinois municipalities without an energy policy bill are almost double what the clean energy bill has been taking $189 million a year out of people's pockets. Can you tell me about the co-ops? Do you have any idea what their percentage is of clean energy?
Again, I don't know how many questions you have, Representative, but I'm attempting to present.
Representative, your time has expired. Leader Bourne gives you 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Our municipalities are at 19%. Once again, without Prairie State putting extra cost on Illinois citizens, not asking for a $789 million bailout. They're doing it because they want clean energy. The owners of Prairie State are far further developed into producing clean energy than the clean energy people are right now. You never heard that. Another thing that I see on Facebook all the time mentions Peabody. Mentions Peabody as an owner. Peabody lost Prairie State, the shares they owned of it, in bankruptcy. Another direct lie, just made to go out and try to turn you against coal. Now, this bill has eminent domain in it for a private business, not a public utility in Illinois. Eminent domain, so they can come right through your backyard, through a town park, maybe even through right next to a family cemetery. You know, you've not had the experience of farming under utility poles. I do. Extra chemicals are wasted when you're spraying, hurting the environment because you got to go around them. It's hard to overlap. You stand a risk of hitting them and maybe knocking out electric for 1 million people. Fire members are working long hours. It's just another thing that you've not looked into. You have much opposition
Representative
to
Meier,
this.
yeah, may I?
Yeah.
Yeah, Representative Meier, and again, I have talked to you, Representative Meier, and when I engage with the Farm Bureau, because we're getting to the point of your frustration, the eminent domain issue, which was brought to us from the Farm Bureau, with you being a farmer and a proud property owner, is the reason why I feel this frustration, Representative, and I understand. In South Cook County and the Will County area, we have pipelines, transition lines. Across this country, there's interstate transition lines.
Well, let's get back to the bill.
Those pipelines create union jobs, individuals in every one of our communities, specifically your community. So I understand your frustration. Eminent domain is very difficult.
Let's go back to the bill. In this bill, it takes the debt over $4 billion and puts Illinois citizens, Illinois taxpayers, on the hook to pay for that. Nowhere is it defined in this bill that I can see. Nowhere is it defined how that debt is to be taken off our citizens. All those towns, all those counties, because of the co-ops, everybody is going to be on the hook. No, not Chicago, just everybody south of I-80.
Representative, your time has expired. Representative Luft gives you his 3 minutes.
You know, for a little while in this bill, there was $20 million in it. Every year, Prairie State was going to get $20 million. That's out of this bill now.
Representative, that was removed.
Yes, that's out of it. I'm still talking to the bill, so I won't need an answer on that because I know it's out. And it's just like the broken promises that many of us have had to face. Promises given to us by the state of Illinois. You can go through this state, go to your school districts, and see how many of them are still waiting for that money from 2009. 2009. Money's never come. It was promised. I can take you to businesses expanding in Illinois, promised DECO grants, sent letters signed saying that they would receive these funds so they could use it to go out and get loans. Guess what? Progressive income tax died. That died with it. Never before, the Auditor General's report shows, never before has DECO grants that have been signed been taken away. Another broken promise from this administration. When you promise money to help take care of these communities that have closed down power plants, you are giving us a broken promise. We are at the bottom of the food chain. Now, I've listened to some of the hearings throughout the years. We never really had much of a chance to ask questions. One time I was lucky enough to ask two. I have yet to been able to receive a letter or anything from solar people when solar would be profitable. I asked about solar carbon footprints. It never came an answer on that. I got an answer on nuclear footprints. And nuclear has a big carbon footprint because all that concrete in a nuclear power plant. Well, you need to watch a windmill going up. You need to count how many concrete trucks pull up to that big hole dug in the ground. That concrete doesn't cause any carbon. Only the concrete in a nuclear power plant does. I have a problem with that. Now, let's talk about solar panels. 123,000 acres of prime Illinois farmland it will take to replace Prairie State Energy Campus. 123,000 acres of prime Illinois farmland. Now, the crops that grow on this...
Representative, your time has expired. We'll give you one more. Representative Alec has given you her time.
This isn't in my district. I would request time to go through the issues that all summer long we have not been able to get onto this bill because we have been denied. This is a major changing bill for the state of Illinois, and I think I should be able to have as much time as it takes. Now, if you study green energy, crops capture carbon. So taking 123,000 acres out of production in a carbon sinkhole of a crop, which is all part of the new clean energy bills because of how crops lock in carbon, there is a big impact caused by solar. Now, this crop feeds the world. Now, we've debated ethanol bills over the past, and in these ethanol bills, there is a term, the indirect land use. This was put in by the state of California. Most Illinois bills are based off the state of California. And this bill states that numbers have to be added on to ethanol because farm production is being taken out for food, so more deforestation is going on in the rainforest in South Africa. So where's the results on how much extra carbon footprint is there? Where has there ever been a carbon footprint on solar? Where is the footprint on mining the minerals in it, shipping them overseas? What about the cost of the ag industry? The lost crops, the lost production, the lost fertilizer, the lost spraying, the moving of the grain, the milling of the grain. And you know another problem? Growing plants that capture carbon and that give us fresh oxygen so we can all breathe, they thrive off of sulfur. We're not getting sulfur anymore. Since already so many power plants have closed down, sulfur now has to be mined, bought, and put on our fields so we can raise crops. So what is this doing to our natural areas? Those plants aren't getting sulfur. They're not going to put as much oxygen into the air, and they're not going to lock down as much carbon either. The state of Illinois, can you tell me how many coal-fired power plants the state of Illinois has? Oh, okay, I got to say. I can't even tell you how many, but I can name off several. The backup source for this building is coal. Power plants at Schultz, Meier are coal. Throughout the state, universities are burning coal. There's no plan in here that addresses any one of those plants and what you're doing to those plants. You have a plan that's never been thought out, or anything else. You have a plan that has been given to you by clean energy, and we're going to take 100% of it, and this is what it's going to be. There's going to be no discussions. We don't want to hear from you.
Representative, I know you're getting a lot out today.
Well, there's a lot to this bill that shouldn't be rushed through.
We have a coal to solar program, and we have a coal to solar program through the Illinois Power Agency. All of the private coal facilities in this state, throughout the country, quite frankly, throughout the world, are transitioning out.
To the bill. We all know that. Why do you think the owners of Prairie State own more clean energy than the clean energy people do in the state? We realize that. We had an agreement with the Obama administration, with then President Biden as vice president, and with the Blagojevich administration, so the Illinois citizens could have a reliable source of energy and know where it was coming from till 2045. They're bonded for it. These citizens have to pay for it. It's coming out of their checks, out of their billfolds. So don't start telling me how this is all perfectly thought of, because these are things you've never thought of. Now think about it. I'm from Southern Illinois. When you get up in the morning...
Can you conclude your remarks in another 3 minutes? We're trying to...
I will try, but I will not guarantee that. I will not.
Would somebody like to give him 3 minutes? Representative Hammond.
We have to go out and fire up generators when the Mesa district doesn't have enough power. That can be a hot day, that can be a cold day, Can be anything going on across the country because we're already importing electric. How would you like to have to go out of your house at midnight and fire up a generator? And you know, really sad thing about this? Think about the people who die because they live in an area where they're afraid their generator is going to get stolen, so they start in their garage and go back to bed and get asphyxiated. This happens every time. People die because of that. Think of it that you're trying to run a business and you got to shut your production line down. Or you got to go out and turn on that gas generator you got. Oh, let's not forget, in 2045, we can't run any of these LP peaker plants. We don't have no backup anymore. There's nothing to address that. Just we're not going to take it. And then we're going to take $180 million a year. $180 million a year to educate people how to work for solar farms. Well, let me tell you something. We've already put a lot of money. We've put it into our junior colleges. They are ready. They are willing. They have the trained staff. They have the facilities. This training should go on right there. Not creating new jobs, not renting businesses and buildings from friends. It should be going through our junior colleges. Now let's talk about these junior colleges. There's a lot in this bill about getting our prisoners back to work. Our junior colleges are training them. The one in my district has a 90% rate. 3 years after the prisoners are released with their degree, 90% of them are still working and not in jail. 90%. We don't need a new program for it. We've got it. We developed that years ago. Let's not go there trying to spend more money, padding more pockets on a bill that doesn't need to do it. You know, a lot of times in everything on the clean energy, I hear Rocky Mountain Institute. I'm sure you never looked where their offices are, but I sure wonder why they have one in Beijing, China. I don't think the Rocky Mountains go that far. Maybe they do underneath the ocean and that, but I'm not sure. Why do they have one there? You know, China and Asia, there's 660 new coal-fired power plants being built in the world right now. Most of them are not being built with the technology that we have in Springfield and that we have down in southern Illinois. We're going to buy solar panels from a country that's using and building more coal-fired power plants to be able to build them solar panels. They're using dirty technology to go out there and mine these products. They're using any type of worker they can get. China is repeatedly on the list for humanitarian rights.
Representative, please conclude your remarks.
I'm getting closer.
No, please conclude your remarks.
I'm going to start concluding them. If we wanted to do clean energy, we wanted to change the environment right now, there was Senate Bill 1693, passed the Senate unanimously, dealing with corn refineries, ethanol, and there's House Bill 2229, which would have taken instant carbon out of the air by going to a B20 diesel bill. They were never allowed to be heard. They were sent to exec and killed. Why are we debating this bill now when there is a federally funded program being funded through the University of Illinois, our university?
Representative, please conclude your remarks.
Trying.
We'll go to another member.
Okay, I'm getting close to the end, and there's a lot in there that still needs to be said,
Please
and it'll never be said because of the fact we could not say this in committee. And there is a time the state of Illinois and the residents have a right to know it.
Thank you.
The study will be done this fall. Why is this bill being done now? You know, and then when I get rushed, I get frustrated, and then it takes me longer.
Oh, we'll move on to another representative.
But I'll sum it up here. I have a nephew who's a surgeon. He's traveled the world. Doctors Without Borders. Hands for Hope, I think it was, just like Doctors Without Borders. You know, we have to take things and get him ready to help him go. He goes to a new hospital, and we've got to send him LED lights, flashlights, so he can do surgery. The people there hold him up so they got light to see. In Kathmandu, he had to incubate people from 12 p.m. or a.m. till 6 a.m.
Representative-
because the power's turned off. You will turn Illinois
Move away
into
from
a
Kathmandu
third world
and
country.
complete your remarks.
So I've urged everybody to vote no on a bill that will kill jobs in Illinois. It will take care of the energy shortage because we won't have no manufacturing going on. Businesses will not be able to function.
Representative-
And you should put an amendment on here that all these panels are made in the state of Illinois, and there should be a study done before they go on any Illinois farm ground of what the hazards are if a hailstorm hits them, because they're only guaranteed to about an egg-sized hail. And you are endangering every resident in the state of
Representative-
Illinois. Thank you.
Representative Welter.